3, 2, 1, action.
Hi everyone, this is Victoria Wolders welcoming you back for another Empathy Tale episode. And today we get to listen to a wonderful story about the paper prince. So this will be a great one. If you have not connected with me yet on mykidslocker.com, go do that. And you can also reach out to me through all the different social media outlets. I'd love to hear from you, love to connect with you about the Empathy Tales stories. Well, for those new listeners, this is the Empathy Tales podcast. This is where I, as a mother, get to share with you stories that I told at my kids' bedside. These are all authentic, original recordings. I decided to move to the authentic, original recordings as of 2020 because I wanted to have you listen to my own kids' voices. I wanted you to be part of that world. These are all stories that I've made up at my kids' bedside. This story today was shared on August 11th, 2019. And this story is about a paper prince who magically creates paper into real living things. And so we get to learn about his journey. And today's quote is, "We will spread our love and care." Well, I hope that all the listeners out there will enjoy this story. And I hope that you're all comfortable now. Because if you're all comfortable, then I will begin. Okay, here we are for another empathy tale. Creating compassion, one story at a time. And this story today is called The Paper Prince. Paper Prince. Once upon a time, a long time ago, in the land of the Oak and Eagle Kingdom, there lived a prince, and he lived in the land of the Western Eagle. Now, this prince was a pretty normal prince. He lived in a large castle, and he had villagers below, and he was very, very kind to people. His parents had passed away a long time ago, and so he was in charge of all the land, which could be quite stressful at times. But he had a secret talent that no one else knew about. And the secret talent was that he could create anything out of paper. He could create cranes and monkeys and cats and dogs and castles and spiders and many different magical creatures like fairies and dragons. Yeah, and monkeys too, like I said. But yet no one knew that he had this gift. Well, the people of the land were very impressed with all the beautiful things that he used to do for them. He used to care for them. He used to provide them food. When there were cold winter nights, he would host wonderful banquets. And the banquets would always have the impoverished people of the land, and he was known for his kindness and goodness. Well, one day, a fairy was going through his village in the land of the Western Eagle, and she fell and she was injured, and her wings got damaged. Well, the local village people didn't know what to do. Should they send her home? What should they do? So they decided to go to the prince who was in the castle. And the prince welcomed her and said, "Our people will feed you and take care of you, and you will get better over time." Well, this fairy was known to have magical talents. It was a beautiful blue, and it had gorgeous wings to it. Wings that look like beautiful butterflies. So the fairy had these beautiful blue wings. They were like beautiful fans that spread out that had, baby blue, kind of like a river that flows from a glacier, that beautiful blue, silted blue. And they had been damaged. Well, he was lucky enough, the prince was lucky enough to have some elders and some people, villagers, to help him care for the fairy. And the fairy looked at the prince and said, "You are healing me, and I am very grateful." She said, I would like to give you a gift." She said, "I've been noticing as I've been getting better in your castle that there are many different paper animals and magical fairies that are around here."
Look before you scratch.
It's dry skin.
All dry skin?
Yeah, it's just dry skin.
Are you videotaping?
Sorry, I am. It's okay.
Wait, just pause for a couple seconds so it's easier to cut it out.
Oh, it's okay. I'll figure it out. It's just, this is my rough draft. So,
So this isn't going on the internet?
no, not this way.
Scramble this.
Okay, but we want to be quiet, so because I use the transcript for this. So she said, "I noticed all these beautiful paper animals that you make in different shapes." She said, "I will bless you. I will grant you the wish of turning these paper creations into real life. And we will call you the Paper Prince." And he said, You will be able to do that?" So if I create if I create a pot of gold, then that means that I can give that pot of gold to the impoverished people of our land. She said, "Yes, you can." He said, "So if I know that our baker travels from village to village selling his baked goods, but his horse has recently died, and so it's not allowed him to be able to go from village to village, I can create a horse, and the paper horse will turn into a real horse." She said, "Yes, I will grant you that. The only thing is I will grant you this one single talent, but you will only have the talent for one single week, and that's it. And after that, then I will not be able to allow you to make anything." And she said, "Okay, I would love to have that."
Okay,
so
he's not allowed to create anything?
So once he creates any paper things, then he will, for one single week, for 7 days and 7 nights, anything he creates, he can transform into a real life thing.
So what happens after his time's up?
Then that's it. He can still create things with paper, but he will lose the talent of it turning into a real life thing. So he soon became known as the Paper Prince, and people would line up at his door and say different things, like, "My dog just got sick and passed away. Will you create a big dog for us to help us herd our sheep?" And so he would create out of paper a sheepdog, and as soon as it was finished, it would turn into a real sheepdog. And then there was some pigeons that were used to transport messages from village to village to village. And they were messengers, and a flock of 6 of them, unfortunately, got lost and died. So the owner of the 6 pigeons came and said, "Could you create pigeons lost and never found?" And so he created 6 pigeons. And then what happened was someone in his village was angry. He had had a feud with his neighbor, and he wanted a pet dragon to protect his land. So he went to the paper prince, and he said to the paper prince, I would like a dragon to protect my home from my neighbor, because my neighbor is angry at me and I feel like he's going to break into my house and steal stuff. And the prince said, no, I cannot do that. I am only going to create things that bring kindness and care and not bring division. So over the next couple of days, he was able to create different things. But then what happened was people started to say, oh, but you're creating this for that person. Why don't you create this for me? Or a person came, someone who was impoverished came and said, I am very poor. Can you create for me a pot of gold? And so he did. But then another person came who was wealthy and said, can you create me a pot of gold? I want to have more money. And so he started to come into these dilemmas of who do I give money to and who do I not, and who do I give animals to and who do not. Well, he had a young child come to him, and it was starting to get to the end of his 7 days. And the child had lost his leg. And he came to the paper prince and said, Paper prince, would you create for me a new leg? And would you have it attached to my leg? And so the paper prince said, I don't know if I can, but I will try. And he created a leg, and he put it right by the boy's...
It's paused.
No, it's not. It's fine.
Oh.
No. Put it right by the boy's leg, and all of a sudden, he had a leg again. And he started to realize he only had a couple hours left, but now he knew that he had healing powers. So he made an announcement to the land. He said, I only have 5 more hours left. Is there anyone that's blind? Anyone who's deaf? Anyone needs healing? I am here. Well, the man who had an argument with his neighbor lined up. And a man who was blind lined up. And the man who was deaf lined up. And he said to the blind man, can I help you? He said, yes, I lost my eyesight. Can you give me new eyes? So he created 2 eyes with his papers and gave it to him. The deaf man said, my ears, I can't hear anymore. Can you give me new ears? He said, yes, I can do that. I will give you new ears. And then came the man who had asked for a dragon. He said, I've changed my ways. Will you create for me a new heart? And the paper prince looked at him and said, what do you mean a new heart? I don't understand. He said, I've been angry at many, many people, and I need to change my ways. I need to do what is right. And
I got an idea.
Okay.
How about for the person, there was like, as he was making it, and as soon as it was about to pop up, he turned to paper because his time ran out. But as soon as he made it.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Well, I think what could happen here would be the man, it's starting to tick-tock, tick-tock. It's almost midnight. And he was the last one left, and the paper prince stood there, frozen, not knowing what to do. What did he mean? What should he do? Should he create a new heart? And what would that look like? So what he did is he created a heart. And the way that the man was standing, he was facing his throne. And the paper prince was looking down the hall, down his throne room, and he could see the clock. And he handed him the heart. But he handed him the heart too late.
No, don't. That's really
No, just wait, hold on, there's more to it. And the man looked at him and held the heart. And he looked at the paper prince and said, I know from this day on, my heart has changed because of your goodness. And
he looked down and it's like, oh, gross!
Yeah. And so what happened was the prince knowingly hugged him and said, I don't know if this will work or not. The time has passed. but I'm going to invite you to come to my house every day and help me make paper hearts. And we will give them to all the villagers, and we will spread our love and our care. And it will be a symbol of the way we show kindness in our village. And the man who was angry, his heart melted, and he knew that just every single action, every single word, every single thought in his mind mattered. If he chose to be helpful and put positive energy into the world, and he too will be positive.
I got also an idea. When he handed him the heart broke.
Oh,
And then when he's run out of time,
it.
like, we'll make them together. The hearts start to reform.
Oh, I love it.
No, don't.
So yeah, that would be a good ending. So an alternative ending is just about to hand out the heart, and the man is about to take it, and it's about to strike midnight, and the heart topples and breaks on the ground.
No cracks in his hands.
It cracks in his hand.
Like the heart, and then it cracks in half, like broken.
But just as he was doing that, the cracked heart looked like there were sparkles on his hands that went and kind of fell over him, like as if he was in a waterfall. That's an alternate ending. Like it. Could help. Okay, so in the end, the paper prince and the man who had the heart, the new heart, changed the community from that point on. And they didn't realize that they didn't need paper anymore. They just needed enough people to care and love enough and to spread care and kindness.
Mom.
The end.
Or an
The
alternate
paper prince.
or an alternate ending is that the man was a fairy.
Oh, that would be good.
And also, I don't get what if we
That would
Mom,
be
what if
good.
it
And then
was-
all of a sudden the man turned to a You're right. Third alternate ending.
The man turned to a fairy.
The man turned
I
to...
will grant you this wish. Yes, but if you want to change back to just being able to fold, all you have to come to me.
No, what if you do drawing instead? Drawing is easier.
That would be cool.
Drawing.
The drawing prince. Okay, so that's the end of our empathy tale, Creating Compassion, one story at a time, episode 59, The Paper Prince, the end.
And wait.
Oh, and we're on August 11th, 2019. Hi, everyone, and this is Victoria Wolders again. I hope that you enjoyed this empathy tale on The Paper Prince. It was a delightful tale, and I hope that all of you can take some wonderful virtues on compassion and empathy, mindfulness, and perspective taking from this beautiful story. Well, if you would like to connect with me, feel free to reach out to me at mykidslocker.com. This is Victoria Wolders, your podcast host and creator, who is also a mother, a teacher, and a Canadian. If you have any questions, feel free to connect with me. I'd love to hear your input into these stories and your thoughts. Well, until next time, I hope you, too, will create compassion one story at a time.